Hey y'all, this episode involves discussions about murder and sexual assault and includes foul language that some listeners may find offensive. This episode may not be appropriate for children under the age of 13. Listener discretion advised.
Super advised. Hey y'all, I'm Mary.
I'm Christina.
And you already know what this is, you clicked on it.
True crime down yonder.
Welcome back for part 2 of
The Douchebag.
Todd.
Yeah, I'm not
going
going to do it this time. I'm not going to do it. I've had enough time to process Todd. Douchebag Todd. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And I think the reason I was calling him Tom is because there's a detective in the case. His name is Tom Clark. And we did that case with Tom Bonnie.
You remember Tom and Pals?
Yeah, Tom and Pals. Yeah.
Tom and Pals.
So, so it's a completely different person. His name is Todd.
Yeah.
Todd Kohlhepp.
Yep, and sorry we're a little late releasing this, guys, because kids.
Life.
Kids.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
Just shit, yeah.
It doesn't go away, ever. Once
Never
you
stops.
have them, you have them.
Yeah, you do. You have everything that comes with it. Not just kids, just life. Just life.
The husband and everything.
Yes. Anyway, do we have anything like current event or anything we need to...
We don't. However...
Prince Philip died.
You know DMX died?
He did too. Yeah, Prince Philip and DMX.
Prince Philip died?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know Prince Philip died?
No, I didn't. I don't really watch the news
Yeah, they
like
both
that.
died today. He was almost 100 years old. He was like 2 months away from his 100th birthday.
Oh, wow. That's a long life to live.
Yeah, but I think he'd had some health problems or whatnot.
I would assume so.
And
almost 100.
I know that... Did you hear about the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Meghan Markle interview, the bombshell interview they did with Oprah, how they pretty much trashed them.
I heard about it, but I didn't hear the feedback off of it.
Yeah, so pretty much they did an interview with Oprah. Meghan alleged that she had mental health issues and that the royal family or the corporation, I guess all the people that work for them handle their PR or whatnot, refused to let her get help, which you're a free woman. Like, go get yourself some help. Like, just say fuck you and go get yourself some help. But anyway, that's the story she gave. And also she accused some of the royal family of racism. Yeah, you'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, this isn't that type of podcast, so I'm not going to
we're not
get
gonna
into detail. But yeah, so you have the people that believe them and are proud that they're speaking out. And then you have those that doubt their story. And, there are a lot of like Meghan haters out there. And so I saw this thing on Facebook today now that Prince Philip has died. And I think someone on Fox News made a comment that she drove him to die, or that she somehow they inadvertently caused his death. Like, he heard about this interview and
he's 100 years old.
Right. That's literally what everybody on Facebook says. Like, he's 100. He's 99 years old. He's been in bad health. Like, you cannot put this on them.
Right.
So
that's crazy.
But yeah, and then DMX, what was it? It was like an overdose, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah,
okay.
I think he overdosed a few weeks ago.
Okay,
and I think
he's
they already
been
determined
on event and
I think they already determined him brain dead.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and pulled the plug. But I hate that because I remember he was a big part of the '90s, a big part of the rap in the late '90s. Yeah. And it was
DMX gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where my dog's at?
Yeah.
Where my dog's at? You gotta do the smoky, raspy voice.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a big loss in pop culture. Anyway, okay, so, yeah, that's enough current events. probably a lot I don't know that happened this week, but I know about DMX and Prince Philip. So,
well, I know that I did want to bring up that we are trying to expand our platform more, and we are expanding as we release more episodes. I'm thinking about if we can get more listeners, we can start a Patreon.
So, yeah, that's something that maybe to look into maybe in the future.
And I'm really hoping that we can get to that point.
But right now we're having trouble getting out the one episode a week that we're trying to do. So I don't know when we're going to find time to do like Patreon stuff. But yeah, we're working towards that. It's a work in progress. Along with everything else.
We love doing what we're doing. I mean, when we do get together, it is fun. It's just life gets in the way sometimes. Yeah. If I could make this my day job, I would, but
right.
You know. But anywho, let's get it back in. Yeah, please sponsor us, please hit me up.
Anyway, okay, on to the case. All right, these people have been waiting long enough. All right, so we are doing part 2 of the Todd Kohlhepp case, and I'm not going to call him Tom. And I need like you to hit me or something every time I say Todd.
Oh, I got you, girl.
Or Tom, not Todd. I need to say Todd. I don't need to say Tom. Okay, so this is part 2. I think the previous episode we left off, we had talked about the Superbike murders.
We did.
And how police thought that one of the victims' wives did it, and the guy that found the bodies did it.
And they put her through hell.
Yeah. And the case went cold, right, for 13 years. Anyway, this brings us to Todd Kohlhepp. So after the Superbike case goes cold, Todd is pretty much laying low. He's just running his real estate business. Mm-hmm. And during this time, he hires a man by the name of Gary Garrett to work for him.
Garrett.
Yeah.
Okay.
He ends up working for Todd as a realtor. And he says that Todd was a real go-getter with his real estate business. Mm-hmm. That he was all about getting the sales. He prided himself on just kind of being a step above the rest.
Yeah.
Also, his agents that worked under him, he was very involved in their sales. He always wanted to see sales reports. He eventually says that Todd lost interest in the business somewhere around 2015, 2016, and we know later like what he was doing around that time.
Yeah.
But he says that Todd just kind of got to where he could care less about it, and that really the business was kind of going down. So this guy, Gary Garrett, he says that him and Todd hung out a few times, and of course they worked together. It got to the point where he was not getting a lot of business. So he goes to Todd and he's like, hey, I'm going to need some more business or I'm going to have to go elsewhere. And Todd's like, okay. So he gives it like a month or so and he doesn't get any more business. Nothing improves. So he goes back to Todd. He's like, hey, I don't have enough business and I'm going to go get another job. And Todd's like, okay, cool. Let me know if you want to hang out sometime.
Okay.
Yeah. So he also, Gary Garrett, who ended up being his biographer, because after Todd gets caught, he goes back to this guy and he's like, hey, you want to write a book about me? And I think he was an aspiring author to begin with. He was an aspiring writer. So he's like, yeah, hell yeah. Who would not take that deal?
Okay. So he just showed up and was like, hey, you want to write a book about me?
Well, after he got caught, yeah, he reached out to him.
Oh,
and he
after
was
he
like,
got caught. Okay.
Yeah. He reached out and he's like, hey, you want to write a book? So he's supposed to be working on a book. He has a book coming out about him. And he's pretty much done exclusive interviews with this guy that he used to work with. So I guess if you're a writer and that kind of thing falls into your lap.
I just feel like that's kind of a cocky thing to do. And be like, why don't you write a book about me?
Yeah, well, he's a cocky asshole.
Yeah,
we all know that.
Into that. Yeah.
It's Todd Kohlhepp. But one thing that Gary Garrett did say was that he seemed to have trouble controlling his temper and the things that he would say to the clients, and it kind of got worse over time. And when I was watching the documentary, the ID documentary about him, one of his clients was talking about Todd, and she said that it was, quote, torture dealing with that man. She said he called her realtor a bitch.
Oh, wow.
That he told a mortgage officer that he had killed people.
Oh my God.
And all he really wanted to talk about was bikes, planes, and guns. So he really rubs this woman the wrong way. And so she starts doing a little bit of research, like we do. Stalking internet. So she gets on there on the internet and she starts looking around. She finds out that he's a sex offender and that all these weapons that he says he has, he's not allowed to have any of it, right?
Yeah.
So she calls every law enforcement agency possible. She gets the local, the county. Everybody tells her there's nothing we can do, even though he's told her that he has all these guns, and she's
That's
like,
hearsay.
Yeah, that pretty much. And they're telling her there's nothing that they can do about it. And eventually, she goes up to like the sex offender registry or whoever agency handles that, the sex crimes, and they tell her the same thing. So the ball was dropped a lot in this case. I've noticed that.
I think so.
A lot of stuff slips through the cracks on this. During his time off from killing people, or maybe he was killing people, we don't know. We don't really know what all Todd was doing. He starts dating. And he's dating this woman named Holly Udi.
Udi?
I know, that's a weird name.
Udi, okay.
It sounds like somebody that would date a serial killer. Udi.
Sounds like Hootie and the Blowfish.
I know, it sounds like a dog. Like, come here, Udi. Anyway, not trying to make fun of her. But her name is Holly Udi. Yeah. She dated Todd for 10 years. She's the one that suggested that he buy the shipping container.
Why?
Well, not for the purpose that he used it for.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess he had a lot of clutter or a lot of stuff. I mean, he had all these weapons. She said he had at least 2 guns and 2 knives in every room of the house. And you didn't think anything was wrong with this fucker.
He sounds paranoid.
He sounds like, there's something going on there. But, she advised that he get him one of those shipping containers to keep his shit in. So she didn't have to look at it all the time, I guess. And she actually lent him the money to get it. I guess he was a little short on cash, and she gave him the money.
So did she move into his house?
I don't think they lived together. I didn't see anything where they lived together. But, I mean, I guess she lived out, was over there quite a bit.
And she didn't want to
And it seemed like they were off and on.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he just had a lot of clutter and it just got to her and she's like, hey, you need to store your shit.
Yeah.
So she definitely regrets that now. She said when she met Todd, he was a really nice guy. She said she met him and then she ran into him again and she was working at this florist and she asked him to come by the florist and he came by and just like out of nowhere, he kissed her. Yeah, this is sweet, right?
Right.
Anyway.
It's like reading the Notebook.
She was married at the time. But she says her marriage wasn't doing very well and that she just really liked the attention that he gave her.
Yeah.
But like most people, she said that Todd loved talking about his weapons.
And himself.
Yeah. Exactly. So, anyway, when she was asked, and they did an interview with her in this documentary, she was asked because she knew that he was a sex offender. She knew about his past, and she knew that he was a convicted felon. He wasn't supposed to have all these weapons. She was asked if she ever thought about telling authorities about all these guns that he had. She claims that she did think about it, but she thought that she was the only one that knew about it. So she figured if she told someone, her being the only person that knew about it, that obviously he would know who told.
Right.
So that scared her. But I mean, if you're afraid of somebody like that, why are you with them?
Yeah.
Why are you with a convicted kidnapper who has all these guns?
Unexplainable sometimes.
Yeah. She says that he knew how to manipulate her emotions. He knew how to capitalize on the problems in her life. And maybe that's why she stuck around so long. Todd claims that he actually told her about him killing people. She denies this. She says he may have told her in a roundabout way, but maybe she thought he was joking.
Well, he told everybody else, so why not tell his girlfriend?
Yeah, I know. It seems like he really wasn't keeping it a secret. He told, a mortgage?
Hey, you know
mortgage
what?
lender?
Here, let me sell you this
Mortgage
house. By the
broker?
way, I kill people.
Yeah.
But this is a great countertop. Look at this.
Well, he told the mortgage guy that. Anyway, so let's move on to when Todd starts doing more bad shit.
More bad shit.
All right, so going back to the beginning of the last episode, how police searched his home and his property on November 3rd, 2016, looking for Charlie Carver and Kayla Brown. When they find Kayla in the shipping container, Kayla starts talking, and Kayla tells them that there are other bodies out on the property, that he has bragged about killing other people. Well, she actually said that Todd had planned to kill Holly.
Okay.
That Todd had said that he would kill Holly if he could get her and her boyfriend out at the same time. Because him and Holly were on again, off again.
Yeah.
So I guess she was seeing somebody else.
Uh-huh.
But he was also seeing somebody else.
Okay.
So we'll get back to that later. So on November 3rd, 2016, when they finally catch Todd, when they find Kayla in the shipping container, that's when all of this stuff comes to light. Because they take Todd into custody. Kayla is talking to the police, and she's telling them that Todd claims to be a mass murderer, a serial killer, has told her that he's killed all these people, and that their body is out on the property. And he even tells her that he's looking for a partner in crime, and I guess he thought she'd be a good candidate for that, and she wasn't interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Anyway, so Kayla Brown and Charlie Carver, these people had been missing for 65 days when Kayla was found. They were a couple, they were dating, and they were living together, but Charlie was actually married. Him and his wife had separated, and I don't know if he had left his wife. His wife was named Nikki, and I don't know if he left her for Kayla. Kind of seems like that. Mm-hmm. But this bitch Nikki, lost her shit. She was just did some batshit crazy stuff.
Okay. I can kind of relate to that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, I guess it was common knowledge that him and Kayla were together.
Okay.
But
was she baby mama too? Did she have?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
she's just crazy.
I didn't hear anything about kids, but this was just his ex. And girl, we get it. You're upset. You're going through some shit, but
yeah.
But listen to what the kind of shit she did. Okay, so these two go missing, and of course the authorities were informed. But when you're an adult, you're allowed to just go missing.
Right.
Now, these two didn't really have a history of criminal activity or drug use, so they took it a little more seriously than the next victims we're going to talk about.
That kind of sucks, though.
Yeah.
Humans are humans.
Yeah. I mean, right.
But yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're talking about. Law enforcement does do that.
But then again, you have the right to disappear.
Right.
So during this time that they were missing, Charlie's estranged wife, Nikki, was seen taking a laptop out of their apartment. And let me mention one thing about the apartment. When they went missing, they did go into the apartment, and one thing that stood out was that their little dog had been left in the apartment. And the dog was starving and didn't have any water, and that makes you think that these people were not trying to go missing. Because why wouldn't you not make reparations for your dog?
Right. Or take the
you
dog
would take
with
your dog, or you would put the dog somewhere where it's safe and it's taken care of, or you would have someone come take care of your dog, right?
Right.
And they didn't. And so that kind of alerted them that something was going on. But Nikki was seen taking a laptop, Charlie's laptop, from the apartment. And then mysterious stuff starts popping up on his Facebook page.
Okay.
And everybody knows that they're missing. But things are coming up from his profile. And it's things like he says that, you know how on Facebook where you have those life events and you can put in what date they happen, like your wedding anniversary or whatever?
Yeah, and your kids' birth.
So even if, I got married 10 years ago and I could go on my Facebook and say, okay, I got married this day. Mm-hmm. That was what was going on in his Facebook. Mm-hmm. But he was posting things like that he bought a house with Kayla, that they were expecting a baby, that they got married. And at one point, he posted some lyrics to Hotel California.
Welcome to the Hotel.
Yeah, it was like that verse where,
California.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. So that's
creepy.
I know, right? So he posts that on there, and then later on, there's a picture of him and Kayla that says, "We're fine." Like, everybody's going to be like, okay, they're fine.
Okay, yeah.
They're fine.
Because everybody sees you
they're
on
good.
Facebook.
There's this old picture on here, and they're fine.
Yeah.
But then I think on her Facebook, she was posting things like "Rest in peace," and I guess I'm a widow now.
What the fuck?
I know.
Is up with her?
Yeah. So of course, police are going to start looking at her.
Yeah,
It's like she's painted herself red or something.
Yeah, like
she's really standing out there.
Good job.
Yeah,
Nikki.
I know, right? But she was never charged with anything. I think they were able to rule her out. She was just a little crazy. Mm-hmm. And now that we know that Todd did this, what Todd said about her, and here goes Todd judging people. He said that she was not involved on his end, but that her actions were really strange and really foolish, and he has no idea why she did that. And it was just really stupid of her. So this is him judging.
I mean, I know some women,
but I have to agree with him on this. I
actually believe him on that.
Yeah, you don't have to don't insert yourself into a murder investigation.
Well, I actually know women
They're already going to look at you anyway.
I know women like that personally that do crazy shit like that just because they're feeling vindictive.
But I don't even see
what she was getting out of it.
Yeah, I don't see what she was getting out of it except for a possible murder charge.
Yeah,
because that could have definitely gone the wrong way.
Well, I hope she felt stupid when she found out that they were murdered.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, shit.
But she actually did end up incurring some charges because she actually called Charlie's cell phone provider and claimed to be a police officer trying to get the records. So they got her on an impersonating an officer charge. And she got some probation and had to pay a $2,000 fine.
Oh.
Yeah. No big deal. But anyway, the way that Charlie and Kayla ended up meeting Todd is, and this was something that Todd was doing with more than one of his victims, he would message girls on Facebook, or I shouldn't say girls, young women on Facebook. And he's a real estate agent, so he has all these properties, and he would offer them jobs and to clean their properties or do some maintenance work or whatever he needed done. Okay. And so they would jump on that. And then often, if they had a boyfriend or something, he would offer them a job as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kayla says that he killed Charlie, that he shot him, and that he was on the property. When they arrest Todd, at first Todd says, I don't know what you're talking about. I want a lawyer.
Okay.
But under more intense interrogation, yeah, he cracks and he starts spewing out all this. So he takes credit for the Superbike murder. He admits to doing that.
He's that much of a narcissist that he wants to go back, and they would probably never have thought about that. Like, maybe this guy killed these people. Which, by the way, I want to say that in the last episode, it was not Spartanburg. It was...
Yeah, it was somewhere else, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I can't remember what the name of it is now, but it wasn't Spartanburg.
Yeah, we'll try to get that. It was something with a C.
Yeah.
And I caught that too. But not...
We'll find out.
It didn't bother me enough to write it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
The
bike shop.
I don't know why I thought about that, but that day I ended up Googling it, and I was like, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all in the same community, all these little towns. But anyway, when asked about the Superbike murders, I guess at first he took credit for it, and then he tried to recant that or tried to back away from that, and he was just being very vague. And Tom Clark's about to lose his shit with Todd. He's like,
I bet he is.
Did you do Superbikes? And Todd's like, as far as you know, yes.
Like, no, Todd.
And Tom's like, God damn it, Todd. He's like, that's not what I want, Todd. He's like, yes or no. Easy enough. But in the documentary, the woman that is interviewing Todd, her name is Maria Oz, and he does tell her that he did commit Superbikes. But there is some discrepancies on that. There's a lot of people don't believe that he did. It's because his recollection was different than the actual crime scene. It's like he used a combination of brass and nickel bullets. And he claimed that the bodies that were in the front of the store, Scott Ponder was one, and Brian Lucas, that he killed them with brass bullets, but they were killed with nickel bullets. And then something about the way the bodies fell was different than what actually happened. But who's going to,
That happened years ago.
Yeah, he's not going to remember that.
Right.
So it was close enough. He ended up taking credit for it. But also he tells them that he killed another couple. And those were Megan and Johnny Coxey.
Okay. Now, were these, was this a couple that he brought out there to help him?
Yep.
To work for him? Okay.
Yep.
And this was, well, never mind. It was going to be a stupid question, but.
What was the stupid question?
I was going to ask if is this before Kayla Brown? And
Yes,
apparently
this
it had to
was
have been.
before Kayla Brown.
Yeah.
So Megan and Johnny Coxey go missing in December of 2015.
Okay.
Unlike Charlie and Kayla, they did have a little bit of a past. They both had a history of criminal activity as well as drug abuse.
Okay.
But Johnny was 28 years old. Megan was 25. They had children. Megan had had a son at age 17, and then she met Johnny when she was 19. And they've been together ever since. And they had their son, JJ, in September of 2015.
Okay.
Well, Megan gets arrested because their baby tested positive for heroin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When she gave birth to him, he did?
Yeah. I don't know how that works. I don't know if they suspect that you're doing something, so they test your child, or maybe the child had some problems.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe they test everybody.
It might.
I don't know. But the baby tested positive, so they arrested her and charged her with child neglect. And when she was arrested, she begged her mom to get her out of jail. And she said the main reason she wanted to get out of jail is because she was supposed to start a new job.
Okay.
And she really didn't want to mess it up. So her mom claimed that even though she regrets it now, that she bailed her out. And that was and 2 days later, she went missing.
So that new job
was with Todd Kohlhepp.
That's awful.
Yeah. And Johnny had also just gotten out of jail on some drug charges.
Mm-hmm.
So they get out around the same time. Well, Todd had offered them a job with Megan cleaning properties and Johnny doing the maintenance. So they go out to Todd's property, and according to Todd, he took Megan and Johnny out to the shed to get some supplies, and Johnny pulled a knife on him and tried to rob him. Then he says that he pulled out a gun, he shot him twice in the chest, and then went behind him. He fell, and then he went behind him and put another one in a spinal column.
Phew.
And then he took Megan and put her in the shipping container. And he claims that he was trying to get her to calm down. She was absolutely hysterical,
Okay.
which one would be.
Yeah.
And he's just telling her, okay, you need to calm down. Look, let me figure this out, and I'll give you $4,000, and I'll take you to Tennessee and drop your ass off somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would be
And
like,
she's supposed to be
cool.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he keeps her in the shipping container for about a week. He says he didn't want to kill her, but she had a lot of mood swings, and he said he went out there and she had set half the thing on fire, and I don't know what he's talking about, but he said he'd had enough, and he shot her. And he shot her on Christmas.
Oh. Well, she was probably moody for one. She's cooped up in a storage container. And two,
she may have been detoxing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's not comfortable, I don't think, for anybody.
Right. That may have been but anyway, yeah, Todd said he was just fed up with her. And so then he shot her and buried her on the property. And this goes back to Holly. Because even though him and Holly were on again, off again, he was seeing someone else. But he was still communicating with Holly via email, and he had sent her an email on December 26th complaining about his new girlfriend and his new girlfriend's daughter. He said that they came over for Christmas. He was upset because her daughter brought all her dolls Like, why the fuck would that bother you?
Right. She's a little girl.
Yeah, she's a little girl. I'm sure she got all those dolls for Christmas, and
Right.
you're going to your mom's creepy ass boyfriend's house. You got to have something to do. But he said that the girlfriend was not happy that he ghosted her for 3 hours. So this all happened on Christmas. So this leads Holly to think, after she found out about Megan and Johnny, that while he had ghosted his girlfriend, he was out killing Megan
Okay.
in the shipping container.
Yeah.
If that was me, I mean, I would have either left or I would have gone looking for him. Like, Todd,
Like,
where art thou, Todd? Come hither. Did you forget about me? Todd! I need you at the house, Todd. We're going to eat this chicken.
It's Christmas. It's prime rib.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'll be like, Todd, I didn't cook all goddamn day.
You to
To
go
be out here in this goddamn
missing
dinner.
for
Like,
3
what
goddamn
the fuck? Yeah, I would have walked on something I definitely didn't want to see. But yeah, isn't that creepy?
That's super creepy.
He takes a break from his girlfriend and goes out and kills this girl.
It's
Yeah.
just like he just doesn't know so nonchalantly. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. When he was asked about killing, well, I think when he was asked about killing Charlie Carver, he asked, well, how did you feel when this was happening? And he said, mechanical.
what does that even mean?
That was where his exact word, mechanical. He said it was just like taking out the trash or washing my car.
Okay.
That's
like it
exactly
had to be
what
done.
he
It was
said.
a chore.
Yeah, like it was just nothing.
Okay.
And so that brings us back, and I know I'm jumping around here a lot, but brings us back to Charlie. His reason for killing Charlie, he claimed Charlie got smart with him.
That's totally
a good reason,
to
totally.
yeah
Yeah.
shoot somebody.
And
If
so,
that were the case, if I shot everybody that got smart with me and I'd be a serial killer too, I guess.
yeah. So anyway, so they had been missing for almost a year before they found Kayla in that container.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way he got Kayla was, again, he offered her and Charlie work. And even though Charlie and Kayla really didn't have like a criminal history or drug history, I'm thinking that maybe they were a little down on their luck or just trying to make some quick money. Yeah. So they were picking up like these side jobs. And so they fall into his trap. And he lived on a 100-acre compound. He called it a compound in Woodruff, South Carolina. And it was the only single property that was 100 acres. Yeah, and had the whole fucker fenced in. And it cost him nearly $100,000 to do that.
You know what we called the prison? Like when we talked about going on the yard, we called it the compound.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like that's just what it makes
So
me think
he's
of a
still
prison
living.
yard.
He's still living on a compound.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Now his compound is concrete.
Right. But yeah, it just amazed me that he had the whole damn thing fenced in. But anyway, so when he confesses to all of this, they're trying to find the bodies. They're having trouble finding them out on this huge piece of land. And with his help, they did find the bodies. So they find the bodies of Megan Coxey, Johnny Coxey, and Charlie Carver. And guess what?
What?
The men's feet were removed.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. Why were their feet removed?
I don't know. It's a really disturbing. I mean,
he didn't.
This was something that he really didn't want to talk about. And the only thing he said when they were asking him why the feet were removed, and this is what he said to the police. He said, quote, "My mother told me never to play with my food."
I don't get it.
I don't either. I guess he's insinuating that he's Jeffrey Dahmer's country cousin.
And you're gonna eat.
Or,
a fucking
yeah, I mean
feet?
that's what he said, and everybody's like, "Holy shit, is this a cannibal?" But there's no evidence that he did that. And then later he
I think
denied
he's just
it
full of shit.
because he goes back and forth, and later he would say, "I didn't do anything with the feet," and he claimed that the backhoe took them off by accident because of course they don't know exactly where they need to dig or where the body exactly is, so that can easily happen. And actually, one of the bodies was damaged by the backhoe. but it
Okay.
was just one. But it's just, this happened with both of these men, and they were buried in different locations.
Yeah.
So the chances of that happening.
And it was just the men. Like, Megan had
It
her
was
feet.
just the men. Yeah, Megan had her feet. And Charlie Carver's dad found this, like, especially disturbing, this detail when he learned. And so he contacted the coroner himself, wanting to know what happened with the feet. And he asked the coroner, well, did an animal get a hold of him? And the coroner said there were no bite marks. And he said, well, were they cut off? And he said, well, there were no saw marks. He said that the way it looked like the skin had been turned, like the feet had been wrung off of their bodies.
Like twisted and
Yes.
just, oh.
Isn't that horrible?
Ugh.
And I have no idea what he used to do this, but this is something that he does not like to talk about a lot, Todd.
So I don't think some people like hearing about that, because that was a plot twist, I guess.
Oh, that's a bad pun. That's a really bad pun.
I didn't even mean to make that a pun.
But yeah, so anyway, and poor Charlie Carver's family, they stayed out on that property after when they found out that Kayla had been found. Charlie Carver's father said that he was hopeful that Charlie would be alive too.
Yeah.
And when they went out there, they were searching that property. His parents stayed out there for hours on end till they finally found him. And with Johnny Coxey, his mother, the way that he was identified was they brought her pictures of his tattoos. And she didn't know if he was dead or alive. And she had to ID him by the tattoos.
Man, that has got to be rough.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't even imagine. I don't want to imagine, but yeah.
Yeah. And with the Coxeys, I mean, law enforcement really did not pay attention to their missing person case at all.
That's sad
and their reason for that was just their behavior.
Yeah.
They figured, they probably were on a bender or they had wanted to disappear.
And I get that, and I understand that law enforcement, they would, if they went for every, drug user,
right,
or, whatever, if they went for every person like that, they'd be really busy because, I dealt with a lot of those people. But at the same time, a lot of those people are a target because a lot of these murderers, they know they're not going to go looking for them. Because they live that gypsy lifestyle, a lot of them do.
Exactly. And Megan Coxey's mother was trying to get them to ping her cell phone because she did have a cell phone. And she was trying to get them to pull up her cell phone records. And they wouldn't do it. And they said that it was a violation of her privacy. But the cell phone was in her mother's name. It was like under her plan and she was paying the bill. And so she asked them, well, if I'm the one paying the bill and this is my phone, is it still a violation of her privacy? And they said it was.
I don't think that's true,
But they did ping Kayla Brown's cell phone. And that's how they found them. That's how this all came to pass, is because they found that the cell phone records were at this property, but also they found the Facebook messages where Kayla had been messaging Todd Kohlhepp.
Okay.
Now, when he had her imprisoned, he was raping her.
Okay.
But here's the thing. He does not think he was raping her. He thinks that she was totally cool with it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But let me break this to you, okay? In their Facebook messages, there was evidence that the two had a consensual sexual relationship before he threw her in a shipping container, of course.
Okay. So they knew each other prior.
They knew each other. I think that she had been doing some work for him off and on at other properties that weren't on his actual property.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, they had a sexual relationship. And I wouldn't say that she was having sex with him for money, but it was kind of described as a relationship that she would have sex with him, but when she needed money, he would give her money, like a sugar daddy kind of relationship.
Yeah, I was about to ask you.
Yeah.
Was he the sugar daddy?
Yeah, but he said that when Kayla claimed that, he had raped her, and he denied that and said that the sex was consensual. He even said that she wanted more sex.
Okay.
Yeah. And, when they said, well, do you think maybe she was doing that just to survive, just so that you would not kill her like you did the others? He was like, yeah, that's possible. But if you were being raped, you wouldn't ask for sex toys and stripper poles. So she had written all these letters in a journal, because I think I mentioned the diary in the last episode.
Yeah.
And she did ask for these items, but obviously she was trying to make him like her and want to keep her around.
I mean, that was kind of like a survival
So it was like
thing
a
for
tactic
her.
for her, but Todd doesn't get that.
So was she like being shamed after this?
There's always some victim shaming.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she had worked as a stripper before.
Okay.
I don't think she was shamed too much. Not as much as Megan Coxey was.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because Megan Coxey, with her drug history and stuff, but I didn't really hear about her being shamed too much for it. I don't know. Of course, she's the only survivor.
Yeah.
So she testified against him. So anyway, why we call Todd the Amazon reviews killer? All the tools and things that he was using to kill these people and to dispose of their bodies, I don't know if he was buying them on Amazon, but he was leaving reviews on Amazon for these products.
Okay.
So let me read you a few of these. Okay. So this is for a master padlock. He says solid locks have 5 on a shipping container, won't stop them, but sure will slow them down till they are too old to care.
Okay.
Okay, and he also wrote this one about a shovel. Keep in car for when you have to hide the bodies and you left the full-size shovel at home. Does not come with a midget, which would have been nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people are like reading these and they're just thinking, oh, this chummy guy.
Yeah, nobody would have thought that he was being serious about this.
Right. No, that's creepy.
Todd ends up pleading guilty to 7 counts of murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and 1 count of criminal sexual assault. He is serving 7 consecutive life sentences at the Broad River Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina. So he didn't get the death penalty because he made a plea.
Mm-hmm. Usually what cowards
So
do.
nobody really knows. So that's 7 bodies that everybody's pretty sure that he did. But there may be more. And he has quite often said that there were more. He claims, because he had a private pilot license, he claims that he was a member of a hunt club in Mexico, that he would fly to Mexico. And this is kind of sick, but they have these clubs, and I'm sure this is very low key, but they have these clubs where you can pay to hunt and kill people. And they're usually drug dealers, because he hates drug dealers.
Yeah. Okay. He loves murderers, though.
Yeah. So when I watched the ID documentary, he had alluded to maybe he had claimed that before he bought his home and not long after he got out of prison, that he was living in an apartment complex and that he was being harassed at the apartment complex because people found out that he was a sex offender.
Mm-hmm.
And he said some guys tried to attack him one night and that he killed them all. But there's no evidence of that. There were no missing persons at the time. They can't find any bodies. So in this documentary, they actually did go search
For more bodies?
went and searched for more bodies. They narrowed it down to like 3 locations where they could be at, and they decided one was more likely than the others. So they searched that one, and they didn't search the other ones because I guess they figured they weren't going to waste their time, because nobody knows if Todd is full of shit or not.
Yeah.
So Todd, with all his mommy issues, his mother was the first person that he contacted after he got arrested.
Okay.
Before he made his confession, he asked if he could send some woman some money. That may have been the girlfriend with the little girl, because he was supposed to buy something for the little girl. Asked if he could wire her some money, and they allowed that. And then he asked if he could call his mom. And when he calls his mom, he tells her that they're going to keep pulling bodies off that land. And this poor woman, I mean, she's obviously upset, and she's asking him how many people he's killed, how many bodies are out there, and he tells her, you do not have enough fingers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I could imagine being a mother and then having your son tell you that.
Yeah. But I saw her on the 48 Hours episode, and this, like I said, bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
When she was, I guess he told her why he killed these people. He gave her his excuses. And when asked about the Superbike murders, or when they were talking to her about that, you know how I'd mentioned in the previous episode that he thought they had stolen his bike, that they were making fun of him because he couldn't ride it and all that other stuff. She says, well, this is why I tell people not to bully.
What the? Okay.
And then she says, Todd's not a monster. Ted Bundy's a monster. Todd's not a monster, even though they're both serial killers.
Oh, they have a lot of personality traits
Yeah.
that are similar.
Yeah, and then with Charlie Carver, when asked why she thought he killed Charlie, he had a smart mouth.
Okay.
So it's like she's still kind of defending him a little bit, which, I mean, maybe it's a defense mechanism. I don't know.
I just feel like he's just an extreme narcissist.
Yes.
And he literally boisted his murders.
Yeah.
I don't even think that some of these happened.
Yeah.
I do think he's fucked up for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that clearly he
did
murder
some of them.
those.
Yeah. I mean, I think
people,
he's responsible for the 7 that he's serving time for.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty safe to say. But he claims that he has killed in the upper 2 digits, he was trying to make it to 3.
But I feel like a lot of the time, I feel like he boisted himself because,
Yeah.
okay, a lot of the times what people do, especially somebody that's already got like a prior sex crime conviction,
Mm-hmm.
they tend to voice themselves as like a murderer or some kind of tough guy, because when they go to the penitentiary, like, you already know the snitches and the sex offenders are on the bottom of the totem pole there.
Right.
So he wants to go in there, and he wants to go in prison and be like, I'm not in here for that. I'm in here for murder.
Yeah.
But I feel like that had, you see that a lot. I saw that a lot. Because sex offenders definitely don't want you to know they're sex offenders in the prison system.
Yeah.
But you're going to know anyway.
I mean, I think he's just really competitive in his own way.
Yeah.
And I think, he got caught for murder, so it's like, I'm going to be the best serial killer I can be.
Yeah. But it's like, people idolize people like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, because if you notice any serial killer that happened after them, they want to up them.
Yeah.
And that's the standard they go by, is like Ted Bundy. Like, Ted Bundy never went around boasting that he
he
married
denied
women.
it until...
He denied it up until he died.
Well, up until they were going to kill him. Then he tried to make a deal.
Yeah, and that's whenever he was just like, hey, he tried to cut himself more time.
And I'm wondering if that's what's going to happen with Todd. See, he made this plea deal. So he's serving life, or several life sentences, but he's not facing the death penalty. So if there are more victims, I wonder if he's finally learned to shut his mouth, because those would not fall under this plea deal, meaning he could still get the death penalty if they found another.
Do you think that he would put his foot in his own mouth and probably talk more and get himself into more trouble?
You know what? I don't know if we've heard the last of Todd. I think
so?
Todd is going to want some attention somewhere. And I know that there have been other missing person cases and other cases in that area that they've looked at Todd Kohlhepp for. I don't know if they've been able to rule it out for all of them. I don't know if they're still investigating that. I have a feeling we haven't heard the last of him. But who knows? We'll have to see.
Do you think he likes the attention?
I definitely think he likes the attention. Actually, he wrote he wrote a letter into one of the local newspapers and said, because there's this enigma around him and there's this burning question, are there more? That's what everybody wants to know. Are there more bodies? Is he responsible for these people that have come up missing or whatever? And he told them that his cases, it was not matter of addition, but a matter of multiplication, meaning it wasn't just a few more bodies. It was like
that many
multiple.
times
Yeah,
and then
multiples.
times some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he definitely wants attention. But anyway, yeah, that's the case of Todd Kohlhepp. And like I said before, my sources for this, I use the ID documentary, The Devil Unchained.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very long, very in-depth documentary. So if you're interested, you can check it out. I think that's why I was having trouble writing this, because it's just kind of there's so much information. It's so all over the place, and I'm trying to put it all together.
Trying to cram it in
so,
a short episode.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking with me on it, because I know I was kind of like bouncing back and forth, but it was just really hard for my brain to organize all of it, I guess.
I think you told it well.
I did okay.
I enjoyed the story.
But,
I never enjoy hearing it, but you know what I mean.
I was trying to find a book on Amazon about him, and I did come across one, and I'm not going to name it, but I didn't buy it. I didn't read it because it didn't have very good reviews.
Okay.
And I think the reason for that is I think this person probably wrote a book before we got all the information. So he probably didn't have a lot of information.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's why. But Gary Garrett, the person that I was talking about, the one that worked with Todd, that is his official biographer, he is writing a book, and I tried to find it, but it's not out yet.
Okay.
And I don't know what's holding it up. I don't know if there's some stuff going on Gary's end, or if there's more going on with Todd. I don't know what's holding up that book. But
so he hasn't released it yet.
He has not released it. Yeah. So that book is going to be called Between the Razors.
Okay.
And it's the only authorized biography of Todd Kohlhepp. But when I was on Amazon trying to find a book, and I typed in Todd Kohlhepp, the book pulled up, and then shovels and locks and chainsaws
Okay.
pulled up on Amazon. When I put in the name Todd Kohlhepp.
Did they remove his reviews off
I
of there?
don't know. And I tried to look on actual Amazon for his reviews. I didn't see them, but there's a million reviews on Amazon. So it's hard to find a particular review. But I mean, I found, the pictures, the screenshots, I guess, of his reviews.
Well, I'm going to post the link to the documentary in the show notes.
Yeah. Check it out. So there's that one, and then there's the 48 hours.
I haven't seen that one, so
yeah,
that might be something. I usually like to look at this stuff after you tell me the story. I try.
Yeah.
So
you can live react.
Yeah. Next week I'm hoping to tell you guys a story. It's an older story, but I think it's got a really good plot twist to it. So
yeah.
I'm almost done reading the book, so of course
Cool.
I'll put that out whenever we say it. But yeah,
can't wait.
In the meantime, I hope we get on a good recording schedule.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna do better.
But until next week, I guess we are out of here. But we got to sponsor ourselves.
Oh yeah, send us an email at
tcdownyonder@gmail.com.
Hit us up on Facebook at
www.facebook.com/tcdownyonder.
Check us out on Instagram
at tc_downyonder.
Okay, and check us out on just about all of the platforms except for Apple Podcasts, which we're hoping to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, is that it?
I think so.
All right, well.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.